Right, hi Peter. Yes, I'm Rod Severn, and I am the CEO of the Professional Advisors Association in New Zealand.
All right, so that would make Phil Kewen your equivalent in Australia?
Yeah, Phil and I would kind of run similar roles for each other's organisations. Yep.
All right, what's your journey, Rod, in the financial services industry?
My length and time has been a bit under 4 years in the industry. I had my previous 30 years was in IT, and I got tapped on the shoulder to come and run the Professional Advisors Association nearly 4 years ago, and I have loved every moment of it. It's just been a wonderful opportunity for me and a dynamic industry, and I love it.
Well, that's fantastic. So it's 30 years in the IT sector and 4 years in the financial services sector.
Correct.
So what did they see in you, Rod? How did it all happen? How did the transition happen?
Well, it happened because my financial advisor happened to be a member of the PAA board, and he saw, or he knew that my skill sets were in management, senior management, running large organisations. Not that the PAA is a large one, but all organisations need to be run effectively and efficiently, and the board was currently running the PAA, and that was not a good look. And so they offered me the role, and I took it.
Well, that's pretty brilliant, I guess.
Yeah.
Where are you from originally?
Sydney born and bred.
Sydney born and bred?
Went to New Zealand in 2002 to run an IT company over there called Sun Microsystems, and came back to Sydney in 2004, and then went back, and I met a woman in New Zealand at that time, and she took me back there in 2009, and I'm still there.
That's great, Rod.
And I love it.
That's brilliant.
Good country to live in, good lifestyle, and it's nice and close to Sydney, so you can slip across the border anytime I like, and come back and see my family and what have you, and friends when I need to.
There you go, that's brilliant.
Easy.
What suburb did you grow up in Sydney?
North Shore, born and bred just down from Lane Cove in a little suburb called Northwood. Went to Lane Cove Public School, then had 5 years in Melbourne, and then came back as a teenager to Sydney and finished my schooling in Norman Hurst Boys High. Yeah.
All right, very good. So you were in the life-saving movement or anything as a young kid down in the North Shore?
Scouts. I was in the Sea Cubs and then the Scouts, and loved all of that. And grew up playing rugby. Went to Melbourne, fell in love with Aussie rules, played Aussie rules ever since.
That's great. Do you have a particular team in Aussie rules that you support?
The Mighty Hawks. The Mighty Hawks.
Right, okay, we'll move on then, Rod. You've got your licks in over
and
the last couple of years.
I've converted my wife in New Zealand to an avid Aussie rules follower, so she loves it over there, as have a number of her friends. So I've converted a few across to the sport.
Congratulations. Now, when you say rugby, you're talking for our Southern States viewers, rugby union.
Sorry,
right?
rugby union, yes,
okay,
rather than rugby league.
Who do you support in rugby union?
The Waratahs and the Canberra outfit. Yeah, no, sorry, the Waratahs. Yeah, no. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
That's all right.
And when's Australia next going to beat New Zealand in rugby?
There'll be a number of daisies on my coffin. I think it'll be quite a while.
All right then. What else did you get up to when you were a kid, Rod? That's memorable.
Oh, that I can talk about?
Yes.
I must say, the thing that I really loved doing was when I went to Melbourne and I fell in love with the Aussie rules. I really embraced that as a sport. And when I went back to Sydney when I was 16 years old, a club, the Pennant Hills Football Club, which is a feeder to the Sydney Swans, heard that I'd moved to Sydney, and they grabbed me, and I ended up playing for New South Wales, and I just loved that experience, and that's something that stands out in my mind, that I was able to excel at the sport, which was something I had real passion and love for, and I think that passion and the experiences you get from that drive that into other things, drives it into your career, drives it into your home life, drives it into your social being, and if you can embrace all of that, then you're a better person for it.
That sounds pretty terrific.
I also used to race boats.
You also used to
race boats.
Tell us about that.
So a mate and I had a 14-foot Caribbean caper with a fully worked 150 horsepower motor on the back. Now, for those that don't understand, that's a little boat and a very big motor. And we used to race around New South Wales until we had a very, very serious accident, and I spent 6 weeks in hospital and another 3 months at home recuperating, and stopped racing boats after that.
Fair enough. At least with motors, maybe with sails you might race boats from here
on. I love the water, still have a boat today, but it is a boat that is much slower and much more comfortable.
Well, I'm glad you recovered anyway.
Yeah, so
moving back to what you're currently doing, in your capacity as the CEO of the PAA in New Zealand, are there any lessons or learnings New Zealand advisors can take from what's going on in Australia, and are there any lessons Australian advisors can take from what's going on in New Zealand?
So the environment in New Zealand right now is one of change, as it is here in Australia. There's the Financial Advisor Act, which has been under review for the last 2 years in New Zealand, and we'll probably still have another year to go before we see the final output of that. So that's leaving us in a little bit of a stage of flux as to what the results of that review will be on the Act. One of them will certainly be around training and education and compliance. And a lot of advisors are going, I haven't done any training to be an advisor because I didn't have to, I don't want to start now. So the Commission has some thought processes around, if they make education compulsory, how are they going to treat the advisors who've been in the market for 20 or 30 years? Do they enforce training on them, or do they say, you know, you're compliant, we'll deem you compliant because you've been doing a good job? That's something they need to think about, and we're working with them to try and work through those issues. I think the market in New Zealand is less regulated than it is here in Australia. Some would say that's a good thing, others would say it's not so good. Depends on your point of view and on what side of the fence you sit on. No doubt if you're a consumer, you'd want it heavily regulated. If you're an advisor, you don't want to be so heavily regulated, and I can understand both sides of that story. It is a challenging time for advisors on both sides of the ditch right now, and I think with changes that are coming, but if you don't embrace change, you are just going to get left behind. So you have to embrace it, no matter which practice you're in or what you do. You have to be able to embrace what's coming and grab it with both hands and go, yep, I'm a part of this. Otherwise, you may as well sell your book now.
There's evolutionary times on both sides of the Tasman at the moment then.
Yeah, and more so on our side at the moment. We're also in the process of creating a brand new association called Financial Advice New Zealand, which is an amalgamation of 3 separate associations coming into one to create a brand new one with a brand new focus and a new direction, which we hope will give much more benefit to advisors moving forward, and a stronger voice to the regulators and to the product providers, and one that is certainly standards based and ethically based as well. Yeah.
Right, very nice. So exciting times in a way, but when you're not doing your professional work, how are you spending your spare time these days, Rod? Are you still sailing a bit? What's going on?
Yeah, I certainly enjoy fishing and getting out of the harbour. Lots of good fish in Auckland Harbour to go and catch. I'm very much a gardener, love doing gardening and growing veggies. And I spent a lot of the summer then bottling and making curries and tomato pasta bases and all sorts of stuff, chutneys. I'm an avid jigsaw puzzle doer, and with jigsaw puzzles that have no picture, so you don't know what you're building. They're called WasJig. You can get them here. If you like doing jigsaw puzzles, grab one. And I do crosswords and I read a lot. And play a lot of plastic music as well. I like my old LPs still.
Terrific. Rod Severn, best wishes for your future, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, and good luck to everybody watching this. Thank you.